The media has officially turned on our Chicago Bulls and have portrayed them almost as a villain in the NBA, doing what's worse for the franchise and its fan base. And there are multiple reports stating that Chicago is not in the right place and have made some very bad decisions this past offseason. I'm going to get into all of that in this episode of Bulls Digest. I'm your host, Joey Mercer, and let's get right into it. So first, yeah, of course, the media has turned on the Bulls. There are a couple reports out there right now, and you can find lots of this online at the moment, stating that the front office has made the wrong decisions, the coach has made the wrong decisions, and the players are not being properly used. So first off, it has said that this article by Zach Buckley of Bleacher Report says decisions the Bulls should already regret from the past off-season. So what decisions could they be? Are they the Nikola Vucevic signing? Are they the Ayo Dosunmu signing? Or are they the fact that we didn't give extensions to players like DeMar DeRozan? Or was it a signing of Torrey Craig or Javon Carter in the offseason? We'll get into a lot of that in this episode, but that is an article that definitely struck my interest right away, knowing that this is the Chicago Bulls, the team that we all love here on this channel, and they're being talked about poorly in the media. The second thing that came about was Alex Caruso's genius is being wasted on the hopeless Chicago Bulls, and he deserves better than the Bulls. This came just after a 116-115 overtime loss to the Phoenix Suns, where Alex Caruso looked like an absolute defensive stud and locked down Kevin Durant to send the game into overtime. Is he being misused? I don't think so personally, but we will talk about more of that at the end of this video, so stay till the end when we get into what Kevin Durant had to say about this topic. Next, I want to talk about Caruso's defense being misused. Yes, we're going to get into that right now. Like I said, I don't think that it is being misused. I think that he is properly used on the Bulls as the defensive anchor, and I think if he was to go to another team, he wouldn't be the anchor of a defense. Is it important for him to be the anchor of this team? Yes. If we were not to have him on the Chicago Bulls, this would not be a good look for us. We need to have that defensive core until Lonzo Ball can come back, and he's the guy to run the ship, and he is the guy just plain getting it done. So this is what Kevin Durant had to say about Alex Caruso. He said he's a phenomenal player. I don't even want to call him a role player, but just a guy that you can plug with any lineup, and he's going to make the right reads, the right plays on the defensive and offensive side. So much praise for Alex Caruso there from Kevin Durant. And it is also good to say about him that he had multiple possessions that he was on Kevin Durant in this game, and even was calling out plays that the Phoenix Suns were running before they even knew that they were going to run them. It's just like he knew what was going to happen on the court before the other point guard even knew it. They would go down the court, switch up the play they were going to do, and Caruso knew the switch was going to happen where they were shutting it down immediately. It's crazy how he's able to read plays before they develop, before the point guard even calls them out on the other team, and he's just so good at reading defensive sets, which is why he needs to stay on the Chicago Bulls right now, unless we're able to get great value in return. The next thing I want to talk about is the front office decisions this past offseason. They have made a lot of decisions in the past offseason and so far in this season. Is it the best decision to have Billy Donovan as the head coach? Maybe not. Maybe he's a guy that doesn't change things a lot during the game. He sticks to a game plan, and he doesn't adjust if the other team's defense is really getting into his players' heads and breaking up plays, and if the plays aren't, getting to where they need to be, which is obviously a bucket or the free throw line at the very least, then it's not getting the job done. You need to make those adjustments, and those things aren't happening. There are a few things that I read in that Bleacher Report article, which I want to cite here, which are saying that before the free agency market even opened, Chicago showered Nikola Vucevic with cash, a $60 million to be precise, by the way of a 3-year extension. Is Vuce worth $60 million for 3 years? Absolutely. In this NBA, there's players making almost $50 million, and Vuce is a former All-Star himself. He's about a fringe all-star each and every single year, and last year was just a little bit of a down year for him, but already this season he has proven his worth and only had a couple okay-ish games, but even in that Jazz loss, he picked things up, and he's looked so good on the glass, and when he's aggressive and get into the offense a little bit more, he's so useful. I think it's more of Billy Donovan's fault that he hasn't been utilized enough in post-ups. You watch against that game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Vooch was just looking absolutely phenomenal at getting down and shielding Chet underneath the rim and getting such great position, and nobody is feeding him the ball there. He is able to hit the pick and pop, but he doesn't hit it enough for my liking from the top of the key, and I really would like to see him get more use in a post-up. I know that makes me sound like a little bit of an old head here, so to speak, but if he has such a big advantage and so good scoring down low, why not do it? If a double team comes, then we can kick out for the modern day three-pointer, swing it around, and do what needs to be done to get a bucket at that given time. The next thing is 3+ weeks passed between Ayo Dosunmu entering free agency restricted and Chicago plucking him out of it with a new 3-year, $21 million deal. While the Bulls were likely letting the market set his price, they also had to be wondering whether he was even worth bringing back. After all, they had seemingly set their backcourt rotation already by adding Jevon Carter to a guard group already including Zach Lavine, Kobe White, and Alex Caruso. So, that's something to talk about for sure. I don't think Dosunmu was brought back to add guard depth necessarily. It is good to mention that Lonzo Ball will be out this entire season, as we already know, and it is good to have a guard just in case somebody else goes down. Out of the people just listed, Zach Lavine's not a point guard, and I wouldn't want Alex Caruso running the ship at point guard either. So that leaves just Jevon Carter and Kobe White. So out of those two right there, Kobe White as well. He has shown flashes of being a solid point guard, but he's also struggled a little bit. Jevon Carter can't play starter minutes as well. I'm not saying Ayo can, but he can come in and fill that third guard gap that we are featuring right now, and he can definitely play shooting guard with his bit of size also. But he is also a hometown kid. They're bringing him back as a hometown kid. The fans love him. He's great around the community, and he's great for the organization overall. And it's such a low price point. Why not bring back an Ayo Dosunmu? It is a no-brainer in my opinion. I don't think there were other teams out there going to offer him much more money. So bring the home kid back. The next thing we'll talk about is Chicago's front office seems fully convinced it can win with this core, was wrote in this article. You would be hard-pressed to find just about anyone else in the basketball world who shares that belief. This summer was the Bulls' chance to let go of these false hopes and start preparing for a better tomorrow. They could have let Vooch walk, traded DeRozan ahead of the final season left of his contract, and even shopped Lavine for some future-focused roster-building assets. Chicago, of course, opted for door number 2, extending Vooch, holding extension talks with DeRozan, and setting a sky-high price during Lavine trade talks. The Bulls refused to accept what reality has shown them time and again. This team needs a top-to-bottom teardown, and it won't make any meaningful progress until that happens. While the Bulls could dive headfirst into a rebuild at any moment, they are losing their negotiating power by the minute. DeRozan is less valuable in a trade now than he would have been this summer, when clubs could have worked him into the fold with a full training camp. Lavine's rough shooting isn't helping his value, and Vooch may not be super appealing on his new contract. I have to disagree on a lot of things there. I don't think the front office is doing a really bad job right now. I don't think the right move was there for a guy like Lavine or DeRozan in the offseason. Vooch is on a good contract right now. $20 million for a big man is not that much money in the NBA today. It is not a bad contract. It's not like he's locked into a $40 million a year contract. This is a good deal. He is very easily tradable at $20 million a year. I'm not sure if they understand, the person who wrote this video, the salary cap rising, but it has. And $20 million a year for a big man is good value. Zach Lavine wasn't made for the right deal because the right deal wasn't available. You can't just go out and get these future first-round picks or prospects that easily. There has to be a package that works for both sides, and both teams need to agree. I just believe that the right offer wasn't on the table. And to say that DeRozan doesn't have as much trade value right now as he did in the offseason because you can work him into training camps, it's also false. There's lots of times that stars are traded at the deadline, like Durant last year, and Durant is 35 years old. I know he's a much better player than DeMar DeRozan, but DeRozan is also an all-star. To say that their value tanks at the deadline is just false. It is false reporting. It isn't the right thing, and the Chicago Bulls front office has us on the right track. The only thing that I think that needs to be changed right now is Billy Donovan needs to have another look at him, and we need for him to make more adjustments. That is the biggest thing that needs to happen, along with Lonzo Ball coming back to the lineup. And if a rebuild is to set place, it has to be for the right things. I'm all for this team rebuilding, as it is a play-in team. We could go one way or another, as I've talked about in the previous video, sorry. And right now, it looks like we need to stay put and build. We just had a massive, massive win over the Utah Jazz. And against the Phoenix Suns, we only lost by 1 point in overtime, what I think was the best game of our regular season so far. We have the energy going in this next game. We're playing tonight in the tourney, and we'll have to see how that game goes. And I'll be there tomorrow to fill you in on that and maybe some more Bulls news and rumors. Make sure that you like the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for everyday Bulls content. We're here doing this each and every day, so why not subscribe? You're here joining us each day, lots of content, rumors, and stay up to date with your Chicago Bulls. I'm here. Until next time, I'm signing out. This has been your host, Joey Mercer. I'll see you in the next one.